First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Welcome back. We are live streaming here every weekday starting around 1 p.m. from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom and the Fox 12 Now desk. So thanks for being a part of the show. Again, we are live right now, but obviously you can always watch these segments afterward on the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel, kptv.com under the Fox 12 Now tab, or on the Fox 12 Oregon apps, which I definitely recommend those for whatever device you have. One thing we've been covering quite a bit of is the Oregon Charity Championship Golf Tournament, which is coming up on October 7th. It involves a number of different charities and nonprofits who are all there who are going to be part of this competition. There is a prize for the winner, but really the other part of it is we get to find out about all of these great organizations who are doing good things for the community and specifically the people that they serve. Sport Oregon being one of them. We talk about this, and CEO Jim Etzel explains this, but they are two parts, kind of a two-part organization. One is they are an advocacy group for bringing big sporting events here into Portland and the region and the Northwest in general, which is obviously good for a lot of different things. So that is part of what they do. The other part is they also advocate for access for youth to sports in general, to exercising, to different kinds of sporting events. And one of those subsets of that is their She Flies initiative, which is specifically for younger girls and women to have some of the same opportunities that everybody else gets so that they can actually participate in these sports and maybe even continue that as a throughout their life in being involved in that. He gets into it in much more detail, so we're going to go ahead and play this for you right now. It is Jim from Sport Oregon. Jim, thank you, very much for being here with us today. Obviously, a lot to talk about when it comes to the Oregon Charity Championship. We're going to get to that, but one of the really cool things about this is so many great, nonprofits and charitable organizations and different people who work with the community in so many facets, and we get to learn about them. And Sport Oregon is certainly a name that probably a lot of people, if they are involved in any way with sports in Oregon, are familiar with the name, but for other people out there too, may not be completely familiar with what exactly the organization is. Would you mind giving us just an overview of Sport Oregon and what it is that you all do there?
Yeah, we're two side-by-side nonprofits. I'll touch on our 501c6, which is our main reason being. We're basically, the mission of the C6 is to drive economic, positive social impact and quality life benefits in Oregon communities through sport. And those are a lot of things you see out in the media, is the work we do around recruiting major events to Portland, whether it was the Women's Final Four for 2030, the racing events at PIR, the Rockstar Energy Tour Open skateboard event down at Waterfront Park, and the list goes on and on, all the way down into youth sports around the state, regional and national tournaments with, youth sports and adult sports. That's our everyday work, along with a lot of policy stuff around trying to elevate opportunities for Oregonians to play in their community. On the other side, we have our C3 Foundation, which is really what we're excited that got us into the Charity Challenge. Our foundation's been around for almost 30 years, and it really focuses on breaking down the barriers to physical activity for underserved youth communities. And inside our foundation in 2021, we launched kind of our signature initiative, the She Flies, which is all about creating access and for young girls, young women, breaking down all the barriers around the inequities that have existed for them forever around sports and physical activity.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot that you just covered right there. And that was a very good overview. I mean, I love the fact of bringing all of those events into the area. I mean, not only just for the sports fans in the area, but also just the economic impact that can make. And also just projecting, for Portland's a positive, a positive look for all of these organizations that can come in and see what we can provide here in this area. And so that's incredible. For serving underserved, youth who are getting an opportunity then to be involved in She Flies, that's a fantastic initiative. And so to that extent, talking about She Flies, how do you go about engaging in the community and, getting people access and getting the word out really about what it is that you're offering and what you're working on there?
Yeah, I mean, our vision for it is really to make sports more accessible and more inclusive for all girls and women in Oregon. And, we have kind of a value proposition or value points around that. One's empowerment, which is overcoming barriers and challenges, enabling achievement, unleashing potential. The other is inclusivity, and it's for all abilities, all body types, all races, all ages, all income levels, all identities. And then partnership, community relationships, network connections, business collaboration, accessibility, safe spaces for everybody to play in, and impact, not just on a social and emotional, but also physical benefits, for all, just a lifetime of health and wellness. There's a lot of, with girls, keeping them in the game is a big deal. There's been a ton of very extensive study around this, but girls are 2 times more likely than boys to fall out of physical activity, not just stick and ball sports, but all activities by the age of 14 than boys. And the outcomes that leads to aren't as great as the ones if we can keep them engaged. We want to empower women in coaching. Less than 30% of the coaches at the youth level for girls are women. We got a lot of well-intended dads out there that are doing great work and everything, but it's really about girls can't be what they can't see. And when they look to the sideline, to see a woman leading them is very powerful. And the studies show that is really a huge factor in keeping girls engaged past the age of 14. And then, finally, promoting fitness for life, among all adults, men are twice as likely to stay physically active and engage in sports for a lifetime than women, and again, trying to address that lifetime health and wellness, emotional well-being, etc.
Wow, yeah, and so laying that maybe a guideline for them, to stay engaged in some ways to be involved in that, later on in life and setting that up. That's fantastic. Looking at something for the community involvement that you just mentioned. So for the community as a whole, obviously this requires a lot of people, requires a lot of work, requires a lot of partnerships. How can the community, like the general public that may be watching now, how can they be involved to assist in that mission that you have there with She Flies?
You touch on it, the power of community. Sport Oregon, we don't have a lot of people resources. We have a pretty small team, but what we do have is a big army of supporters. We have over 125 corporations and individuals that fund our mission every year, and we use the power of that group to lean in to elevate not just awareness and storytelling about all these issues, but also funding. And so we have a series of fundraisers throughout the year that we bring our group together to generate funds, not just for She Flies, but for all youth across. And we go out into the community with a grant making cycle is one thing that we do. And there's a lot of small nonprofits in our communities that are doing great work around youth and creating all these things that I just talked about, but they don't have kind of a traditional development teams. They're pretty small niche nonprofits. And so what we do is we lean into them and give them funding to increase their ability to touch more kids in the community.
Something else, just going back to what you were talking about at the beginning, as far as major events here in the area and what that can do. WNBA coming back to Portland. How for you and from your perspective on that, how important do you think that is for sports in Oregon in general, but also that bigger impact regionally and when it comes to economics and just the appearance for the state and for Portland when it comes to sporting events here?
Well, the WNBA coming to being announced last week was huge for our city and our state. We're a top 25 market. We're the smallest top 25 market, or the largest, I should say, top 25 market with the fewest number of professional sports teams. So this is another step in the right direction. Talking about She Flies and WNBA, what you can't see, you can't be. I mean, here's another great example for young girls and women in our community to just see some dynamic, athletic role models. Not just, obviously we've had the Portland Thorns, which have been phenomenal, and their success and the way this community has embraced them and lifted them was, a key contributor to the assessment of Portland as a potential WNBA market. So, having two women's professional sports teams at the highest level, the most prominent and identifiable leagues in the world for women's sports, that's a huge deal. And obviously it puts Portland, in the byline on the television 40 plus more times a year around the games themselves, and 20 plus new events in Portland for the community to, lean in, cheer, and just emulate. So a huge deal for Portland.
Going to the Oregon Charity Championship, the golf tournament coming up. If you were to win, if Sport Oregon wins the tournament, which is a challenge, if you were to do so, what would you do with those funds?
Yeah, it's a stiff challenge. There's going to be everybody wants to win, right? That's the competition out there. Everybody's putting their best team and foot forward on this. So, because it's a big opportunity to win a grant or that prize money to go towards our missions. But for us, it's really about empowering our ability to drive the biggest outcomes through our mission and our community. It's going to go into our ability to elevate these nonprofits that are doing great work and amplify that work. So there's more awareness around our state of the work that's being done, and hopefully that corresponds to more support. So just storytelling. The other deal is creating community events to raise awareness. And that takes pressure to where we can drive a lot more of our fundraising towards our grant cycles. So, the big opportunity. It'll be fun to go out there with like-minded nonprofits, and hey, may the best team win.
Yeah. Well, to that extent, are you going to be playing in the tournament yourself?
To that comment I just made, best team win. If I'm on the team, it's not the best team for. We got a bunch of people that are very active, individuals in the community are very active, supporting Sport Oregon, and some of them are some pretty good golfers. So we had no shortage of people raising their hands saying, I want in to try to represent and win for Sport Oregon. So I'm going to be the captain. I'll be cleaning the clubs, caddy, whatever they need to, bring them across the line, but not me swinging it.
Yeah. Well, good. That's the smart move. I mean, I wouldn't be playing for my team either. Yeah. I'll lead. I'll cheer on. David Lucas seems like he's putting together some kind of team too. So we'll,
pressure, defending champion.
Yeah.
They went out and put a pretty low number out there last year. So that's kind of what everybody's pointing at, in pretty bad weather conditions. So I hope the weather, it should be better this year. Can't get much worse than it was last year. But yeah, we're excited to kind of see if we can dethrone. And we're big supporters of Maurice Lucas Foundation as well. And David's actually on our board, and love the work that he does out there through the Maurice Lucas Foundation in our community.
And that's, at the end of the day, it's all of these organizations that are competing are all doing great things for the community in various different aspects and ways. And so that's what's really fantastic about it. And to that extent, for everybody out there who wants to learn more, follow along with what Sport Oregon is doing, and even get involved in some way, what's the best place for them to go to do that?
The best thing is obviously the website, sportoregon.org, and then also just our social channels on Instagram and YouTube. I mean, I think people would love our content. It's very rich and engaging. Our audiences have grown tremendously, but that's the best way to stay in touch with us. We're never going to overwhelm you and go, you want to unsubscribe from us. But also we have a newsletter that comes out every 2 weeks electronically. So best way to find us.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations, and thank you really for all the work that you're doing for all those different initiatives that you just mentioned, and good luck in the tournament. And yeah, hopefully, better weather. But that's it's coming up on October 7th, so coming right up here. But thank you very much for joining us here on Fox 12 Now. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for
again. Thank you for Jim joining us there to talk about Sport Oregon, some of the different things that they have, those initiatives, and the Oregon Charity Championship is on October 7th. So a lot it's going to be going on with that. But of course, we've been covering a number of the different nonprofits and charities. You can check out all of those interviews at the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel, or you can go to kptv.com, click on the Fox 12 Now tab, and all great ways to find out more about each one of these good organizations. But we have a lot here that we do with Fox 12 Now, so thanks for finding us. If it's your first time watching, please peruse all those sites I just mentioned and check out all the different wide variety of segments that we get to cover here. It's a wide range of topics, and we appreciate everybody who joins in. Feel free to share those as well. We'll have more coming up this afternoon. It'll be right here, whatever platform you found me on, and I will talk to you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.